Fables of La Fontaine. The Gout and the Spider. When mischief made the spider and the gout, "My daughters," said she, "you may clearly vaunt that nowhere in a human haunt are there two plagues more staunch and stout. Come, choose your dwellings where you would abide. Here are hovels, narrow, dark, and poor, and there are palaces, all gilt with pride. You have your choice. Now, what can I say more? Here is the lottery prescribed by law. Come, daughters, draw." "The hovel's not my place," the spider says. Her sister hates the palace, for the gout sees men called doctors creeping in and out. They would not leave her half an hour at ease. She crawls and rests upon a poor man's toe, just so, and says, "I shall now do whatever I please, no struggles longer with Hippocrates. No call to pack and march, no one can displace me." The spider camps upon a ceiling high, as if she had a lifelong ease, you see, and spins her web continually, ready for any fly. A servant soon to clean the room sweeps down the product of her loom. With each tissue the girl's at issue. Spiders, busy maids will squish you. The wretched creature every day was driven from her home away. At last, quite wearied, she gave out, and went to seek her sister Gout, who in the country mourned her wretched fate. 1,000 times more hopeless her estate, even more miseries betide her than the misfortunes of the spider. Her host has made her dig and hoe, and rake and chop, and plough and mow, until he's all but well. "I can't resist him, ah, ma belle! Let us change places." Gladly heard, the spider took her at her word. In the dark hovel she can spin, no broom comes there with bustling din. The gout, on her part, pleased to trudge, goes straightway, wise as any judge, unto a bishop, and with whims so fetters his tormented limbs that he from bed can never budge. Spasms, cataplasms, heaven knows. The doctors make the curse steal steadily from bad to worse. Both sisters gloried in the change, and never after wished to range. Well, there you have it. So what's all this about? The gout and the spider. Well, he starts off by saying that Mischief, the goddess, we saw her earlier when she rolled the apple into the party where she was not invited and caused trouble with Hera and Athena and Aphrodite, who's the most beautiful, written on the golden apple. Well, here we have Mischief once again, and she created two of her daughters, the spider and the gout. So she says to her daughters, "Nowhere in a human haunt are there two plagues more staunch and stout." So you guys are the strongest and toughest and hardest to get rid of plagues upon humanity. So where would you like to live? So she says you can either live in the poor, dark places, or you can go live in the palace. So the spider says, "Well, I don't want to live in the hovels. I want to live in the palace." And Gout, her sister, says, "Yes, I don't want to go to the palace. When I look at the palace, there's always doctors coming and going, and I'll cause trouble with somebody in the palace, and then the doctor will come in and cure that person, and I'll have to go find somebody else. So, I don't want to deal with all these doctors. Hippocrates. I don't want to struggle with Hippocrates." I want to go and live in the desolate hovels. So they agreed. The spider goes into the palace, and Gout goes down to the hovels of the common farmer type poor people. So the spider starts spinning webs, getting ready to catch a fly, and every time she spins a web, the maid comes in, sees the spider on the ceiling with a web, and brushes it all away. So the spider has to make a new web. And this goes on continually. The spider doesn't get any rest, constantly making webs, and the maids are constantly wiping out the webs and trying to squish the spiders. So the spider can't get any rest, and she's all upset. So she says, I can't live here. This is terrible. I'm going to go visit my sister and see how she's making out. So she goes out to the country and goes into the hovel, and Gout is there, and Gout is all upset. And she says, oh, it's terrible. Every time I attack one of these farmers, I get in his toes or his knee or something. He just goes out in the field and he works and works and works. He rakes and chops and plows and mows. And all this exercise and fresh air and hard work cures him. And then I got to do it all over again. And it's just terrible. No matter what I do, these guys don't stop. They go out, fresh air and work. And it's useless. I can't get a foothold. So she says, well, let's trade places. And the spider's like, oh my God, this is amazing. Of course, let's trade places. I'll go in the hovel and you go in the palace. So the spider goes in the hovel and spins a web, and the country women don't care. They have a dirt floor. They don't sweep. They don't clean. They're too busy surviving, cooking the food, washing the clothes, peeling the vegetables, farm work. The farmer's out in the field all the time. Spider can relax, spin a web, flies come around, catch them, eat them, life at ease. And as for the gout goes to the palace and infects the toe or the limbs of a bishop. So the bishop has to lie in bed all the time and just suffers and suffers and suffers and calls the doctors, and the doctors come in, and instead of curing the patient, they make him steadily worse. So both gout and the spider, which are plagues on humanity and their job is to make people miserable, they are tickled pink. They love it. They're doing their thing. Gout is attacking the bishop, and the spider is spinning webs in the hovel and catching flies, and they're both wonderful and happy. So, and they never left. So to this day, you'll find spiders in the hovels and gout in the place of rich people. So gout is basically a disease that rich people get from rich food and drinking alcohol and not exercising and things like that. It's a kind of acid that gets in your joints, and I think it's not lactic acid. It's a different type of acid. But anyway, gets in your joints, and you get a dusty white powdery discharge comes through your skin, and it's very painful. It's like broken glass in your joints. So I'm thinking linoleic acid, but I can't say if my memory is serving me here, but you can certainly look that up. So what is this all about? Well, basically, this is what life is all about. In life, you have to make choices. You have to decide what kind of life you want to live, where you want to live, how you want to live, what you want to study, what kind of job you are going to do. Now, some people, very few people, they know exactly what they want to do, and they're just going to do it, and their hobby becomes their job, and if they're lucky, they can make a living at it. And there's a saying that if you make your hobby a job, you never work a day in your life, because you don't mind doing all the extra hours and the overtime because you enjoy what you're doing. And if you're doing something you don't enjoy, you're constantly watching the clock and you're waiting for the day to end, and you can't wait to get out of the workplace and start your life on your time off. And watching the clock, and then you wake up in the morning and you're tired. Oh, I got to go to work. I hate that job, but pays well. These are golden handcuffs. You can't quit your job because the money's good. So this is what's going on. If you find a job you like or a place you like where you want to be in life, well, first off, you make plans. And there's another saying that the best laid plans of mice and men, which basically means we can all make plans, but sometimes the plans fall apart no matter what you do. So if you plan your life a certain way and then you study and you get your education and you get a job and you start making money and you're doing this job and you've planned it, and then you find you don't actually like this job, but you're kind of stuck with the golden handcuffs, then you have two choices. You can stick with that job and struggle through it, or you can go and try to find happiness somewhere else. And sometimes you find happiness where you least expect it. And what you thought you would like to do isn't actually what you do like to do, which is perfectly sensible, because when you're young and you're planning your life and you don't really know yourself all that well and you don't know what you would like to do, you don't have any experience, so you pick something that is going to pay well and give you the lifestyle you want, which is the best policy. And if you do that and you struggle for a few years and you put aside a nice nest egg and then you say, well, I've got this money, now I can retire and do what I actually want to do, you might be surprised what you enjoy doing with your free time. Or you could take a risk and quit your job and try to find something somewhere else, but that's not advisable. Better to study something in the STEM field or something like that, or if you can find a business that won't fail. Truth is, money is like a lubricant in life. With money, everything is easier. You can slide through life. Without money, you have no lubricant on your engine parts. It's like grinding and scraping through life with sparks flying off. It's painful, it's noisy, it's terrible. So yes, you should get an education where you can actually make money. And if after you do that, you can make money with your hobby, then at least you have a backup plan. This is my advice anyway. At least you have a backup plan. If things don't work out, you can always work at this lucrative job, preferably in something like STEM, which is science, mathematics, medicine, technology, engineering, something like that. There's always work to be done, high-paying jobs in the STEM field, and there will be for the foreseeable future. But you plan and study, and after you make money, if you don't really enjoy it, then you can go and enjoy your life doing something else. A lot of women these days are confused by feminism, which is basically telling women that being feminine is bad, you should be masculine, forget about being a housewife, don't stay home, go and work in a company somewhere, which doesn't really make sense. Feminism should be supporting women in whatever choice they make, and if they choose that they're happiest at home as a housewife and a mother, then feminism should support these women. What feminism doesn't understand is that men and women are not enemies. Men and women are like two halves of the same coin. Femininity is just as strong as masculinity. They're just different. And there's nothing wrong with being feminine. There's nothing wrong with traditional female roles. There's nothing wrong if a woman wants to be in STEM. Nothing wrong with that. But they should have the choice to do what they're best suited for. And a lot of women would prefer to be home and take care of children and take care of the household, but feminism will put a guilt trip on them for wanting to do that. But the key is you should find what makes you happy. I'm sure there were other points I'd like to make, but this video is kind of getting long, so we will stop it there. If you have anything you'd like to add, any comments, any questions, any points that I haven't covered, you can do so down below. Anyway, till next time, who loves you, baby? I do. Goodbye.